Welcome back, Cat 37 class. Today we have a new exciting video, creating corners. So if you like, you can subscribe to this channel, add a comment, like, dislike. Any suggestions, please comment. I'm trying to do the best I can to improve on these videos. And even bad comments are welcome. I don't get offended by them. I'm just too old to get offended. All right, so let's continue on. All right, so creating corners. So let's go ahead and download the file. Okay, and open it in CATIA. Don't forget it's saving this file in your downloads folder. All right, so let's go ahead and bring these curves up. By the way, actually this is a good time to introduce a filter. There's a filter option. Let's see if I have it on. User selection filter. So if you right click on any icon, okay, there it is. I was misclicking. User selection filter. Okay, so here's the filter. So it did load this toolbar, the user selection filter. Okay, so I'm just going to dock it up here. Okay, so let's say I wanted to select curves and only curves. I can select curves, right? I turn it on. Notice it's orange, it's active. And I'm going to select all curves, so I don't have to select one at a time. And I'm going to change the color, so I can just right click on any of them. Notice it only selected curves. I'm going to right click properties, and I'm going to change it to a bright color, right, that we can see. Green. Okay, good enough. And I'm going to click away, and there they are. Okay, now don't forget to turn it off, because later on you're going to be trying to, like, let's say click on a surface and you get the stop sign. Like, no. And it's because you have the filter on. Okay, so you can turn it off. Okay, let's turn on a surface filter. Okay, so surface filter. So it will only capture surfaces. So I'm going to left mouse click window capture. Notice only the surfaces will be captured and the planes. All right, so I'm going to right click properties and once again change the color, something soft, something easy to see. Okay, that's too dark. Let's go with this window capture again. Let's go with green. I like that soft green when you're dealing with large surfaces. It's just easy on the eye. Okay, there it is. All right, and again, don't forget to turn off your filter. If you want to capture points, you turn off the surface filter. You can turn on points, and you can window capture, and it will only capture points. We don't have any points in space. Doesn't seem like we do. We do, but they're turned off in the background. Yeah, we do have points in the background. There they are. But it looks like we don't need them for this tutorial, but we'll find out. All right, so don't forget to turn off the filter. You can turn on two filters at once. Like let's say you wanted to catch all points and curves, right? Lines are also included in the curves. Okay, so you can pick more than one option at a time. I'm going to turn off these filters. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and insert my own geoset. Let me insert my geoset. My geo, right? Okay, it's in the wrong spot, but that's okay. I can always reorder. Right click at the top of the tree, reorder. Notice my geoset wanted at the bottom. Order doesn't matter, but I'm going to keep mine at the bottom of the tree. And there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and use lines of cyan. Make it number 2 on thickness. Okay, let's go with points. I don't know if I need points, but let's go ahead and change the color. Okay, should be good enough. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with the tutorial. All right, so we are going to create corners. Now we're not going to create sharp corners. These are going to be nice, round, conic, parabolic, hyperbolic type of corners, okay? Even though the command is called corners, it's not sharp corners, okay? Okay, so we're going to go corner on support. Okay, and we're going to type in a radius of 52. So we're going to use these two lines to create a radius of 52 millimeters. Okay, you don't have to type in the same numbers as in the tutorials. All right, so let's give it a shot. Let's look for these two lines, or any two lines. Doesn't have to be the same one as we see here on the tutorial. Okay, so there they are, right? Let me go ahead and change the color of the plane. So I missed that one. And let's make it green. Okay. All right, so we're going to create a corner between these two intersecting lines. So let's go to corner. Okay, so let's go to circle, go to the drop down. So go to circle, and there's that little black arrow pointing downward. And there it is, corner. All right, so we're going to pick our two elements. All right, so let's pick our two elements. 1, 2. That's already giving us a preview, right? Okay, so use whatever radius you like. Doesn't matter to me. Okay, so notice it's showing us 4. So it's telling you, hey, Katia's telling you, I can give you 4. Which one of the 4 do you want? You can end up with this result, that one, this one, that one. You can cycle through by hitting next. You want that one? Do you want this one? Do you want that one? Take your pick, or you can physically pick one. Let's say I wanted the one on the right. I can click it. That's the one you like. And let's see what happens when I hit OK. So there it is. Okay, so there's 4 options. So Katia's asking you which one do you want. I can give you 4. Pick the one you like. All right, let's say we wanted to trim the excess. Let's see if I can do this without getting stuck. So let's go back, double click on the corner, right? Look how this element takes on the name of the command, corner 1, right? So we use the corner command, and it will name our element corner instance number 1. All right, so let's pick trim. You know, I think I was supposed to do it on a support. Let me go back and double check. Don't remember. Yep, corner on support. I was supposed to do corner on support. It did need a support because these are all planar, lying on the same imaginary plane. So let's go ahead and do it anyway on support. So we're going to pick the plane as our support. So click on the support window and click the plane. So that guarantees that our arc or our corner lies on that plane. Okay, let's cycle through the next. That's the one I want. All right, so hit OK. Yep, and it worked. Let's go back, double click. Let's make some changes. Let's use trim. Let's trim off some of the excess. Okay, let's hit preview. Let's hit OK. Notice it's showing this portion in orange. That's the part it's going to keep. And in 3, 2, 1, OK. And it trimmed off the excess. Ta-da! Okay, so I got lucky this time. All right, it worked. All right, let's go on with the tutorial. Okay, so we accomplished this part of the tutorial. Okay, now we're gonna do a 3D corner. Okay, so we're gonna select 3D corner from the corner type drop-down list. Okay, so we'll go to the drop-down, pick 3D corner. Okay, so I'm gonna look for these curves to create our 3D corner. All right, so let's go back. Where are those curves? Oh, okay, there they are. I'm assuming, if I'm correct, that the 3D corner, if I remember correctly, it's for curves that are not planar. Okay, notice these curves are not on the same plane. I may be wrong, but I think it's 3D corner works for curves that we're trying to corner but are not in the same plane. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's follow the tutorial. Okay, so here's the orientation. I'm going to turn it around to get this orientation to look like the screen here, the visual here. So let's go ahead and go back and close enough. I don't know if this is correct, but let's go ahead and use the corner command, corner. Okay, so we're going to drop down to 3D. No, let's say I forgot to go to 3D. Let's say that we forgot. Let's see what happens. Okay, and pick the 2. And let's pick a support. Oh, there is no support, right? There's no surface where both of these are lying on. There's no plane. So yes, we're going to have to go to 3D corner because we don't have a support and these are not on the same imaginary plane. So let's go to 3D corner and now it will give us what we're looking for, right? Okay, so there's quite a few options. Let me reduce the radius. Looks a little bit confusing, but there it is. So here it's telling us, hey, you got 3 options. Let me see if I drop down the radius even more if it gives us the 4th option. Yes, okay. So these are 2 close together. So this is like think of an acute angle. They're 2 tight together. So that's the reason it wasn't giving us this 4th option. The radius is too large, right? It'll get rid of that option. The radius is just too large to connect these 2. And if we keep increasing it, I'm pretty sure we might lose. Oh, look what happened. It actually added back on this one. All right, so it's trying to do a best fit based on the radius we're giving it. Let's try and get all 4. So I'll use a small radius. There it is. So we can have all 4. Okay, so here are the 4 options. Hey, if you want to use a radius of 29, obviously this is not a planar curve as you can see, right? It's twisting, right? It's not planar. It's not a planar curve. That's not the result. It's not planar, so it's a 3D corner. So that makes sense why it's called a 3D corner. It's not a 2D planar curve. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to pick this top one. I'm going to keep that one. Okay, you do have the trim option. So it should trim off the excess. The trim is on. Okay, by default, and I'm going to say okay. And notice it trimmed off the excess. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's go back, double click. Double click, double click. And what happens if we turn off the trim option? Okay, we're going to turn off trim, see what we get. And okay. Whoa, that's what we get. Okay, I was expecting it to not trim anything. Okay, so it split and took off everything else. So let's go back, double click. I was expecting it to keep the lines. Let's say you panicked and it's like, whoa, what happened to the other lines? I want to keep them, right? I want to still do more with the other lines that were existing. Okay, so let's click on this line and go to parents, children, parents, children. So it's telling us, hey, when you created this corner, you use these 2 splines, which are now hidden. So it automatically hid them. They're in the background. See, they're back here in the background, right? In the no-show layer. Okay, so I can turn them back on. I can right-click, show. There it is. And right-click, show. If you still wanted to keep working with these splines, you can turn them back on, as you can see, right? Maybe you want to do more work, add more curves to it. Okay, so you're going to constantly be going back and hiding and unhiding parents or grandparents when it comes to geometry. Okay, so this little arc that we created depends on those 2 green splines. Okay, and once again we can hide them and it'll just go in the background, right click, hide. Okay, let's double click on the corner and let's say, hey, we're going to trim and keep the portions we want, the area where it continues on tangent, and get rid of the excess, and okay. And there it is. Okay, notice the white dots. I know they're a little bit hard to see, but there's a little white dot there, little white dot there. That's where it trimmed off. So this area, it's not curvature smooth. Okay, it is tangent. Okay, so when it created this curve, it went tangent to this one and tangent to that one. So tangency, it's smooth, but it's not as smooth as curvature continuity. And again, we'll talk more about that in our next class session. All right, let's double click. Okay, so any more options? I think we covered all the options, so I'll just leave it alone. So I'll just cancel, we're good. Okay, let's move on with the tutorial. Okay, creating a corner on a vertex. Okay, so here we have this element, and I'm gonna assume it's one entity, meaning it's all joined as one. So we have these 4 lines, and I'm assuming it's one entity. They're not 4 separate lines. So we're gonna create round corners at vertices or vertex, right? We're going to round them off. And we should also be able to round off all 3 corners in one shot. Okay, let's see if I don't stumble through that. So let's go ahead and try it. Okay, let me zoom out. Okay, so there's our, yeah, it looks like the letter M. There it is. Okay, so we're going to do corner. Okay, so let's locate this in the tree. Right click center graph. Oh, so it's a sketch. It's one entity. So, all right. So notice this is one entity. It's a sketch. All right. So we're going to round off the corners. Okay. So let's use corner again. And this time we're going to pick corner on vertex. Right. Let's go back to the tutorial. Make sure I got all the settings right. Corner on vertex. Does it say to use 3D corner? Let's find out. We'll just play around with it. Okay, so let's try 3D corner. First, if that doesn't work, we'll do corner on support. I'm assuming it's going to have to be corner on support because this is a sketch and it's on a planar and it's on a plane, right? So this is a 2D element. You can see it's flat from the side. All right, so let's go ahead and pick a corner. Okay, as you can see, notice we didn't pick line, we picked a corner. This is one entity. The letter M is one entity. It's not 4 separate lines, so we don't click line to line. We click the corner, the vertex. Okay. And we can increase the radius if we like. And okay. There it is, right? Let's go back and see if we can pick more than one corner. Let's see if I can pick this bottom corner also. And I guess not. I guess you can only do one at a time. It's not allowing me to. All right, so hit OK. There's our corner. All right, let's say we wanted to do all 3 in one shot. Let's see if it allows us to. So let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to remove that vertex. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to click here, right click and clear. Let's see if I can clear or I can backspace. I'm looking for clear or remove. Okay, maybe I'm going blind. I don't see it. So let's see if I can just backspace or hit delete on the keyboard. Oh, pick other selection. There it is, other selection. And instead of the vertex, let's see if I can pick the entire sketch. See, by picking the entire sketch, it'll do all corners on that, which happens to be a sketch. Okay. So once again, we went in here and said pick other selection, and we were able to pick the sketch. So it sees it as one entity, and wherever you have a sharp corner, it'll round it off. And okay. All right, so let me go into the background and show this green sketch, right? Okay, there's the original one. So the green M is the parent of our new cyan curve. Let me hide this curve that we just created. Okay, so let's do corner again, except this time I'm going to select the line. Let's see what happens. Corner again. We're going to pick corner on a vertex, right? We want to round off the sharp corners. And for element, let's see if I can just simply pick the entire sketch in one shot. And yes, it can. And it assumes that every corner on that entity is going to round it off. And there it is. All right, so that was another way of doing it. All right, so let's go ahead and on to the next one. And trimming. Okay, so you can trim elements. All right, so we already did trimming. Let's see if there's anything here that we missed. Oh, this one. Okay, so we missed this one. Okay, so that's what this last portion of the tutorial, and then we'll be done. Okay, so we're going to trim. Okay, using these elements on this surface. Okay, so let's go back. Let's make sure I don't miss anything on the options. Let's give it a shot. Hopefully we'll get it on the first try. Okay, so we're going to do a corner again on these two curves. Corner. This time we're going to remove on vertex. We're going to remove that because we're not going to pick a corner. We're going to pick two lines. In this case, two curves. Okay, so pick our first curve, our second one. Okay, and we're going to pick a support. Let's pick a support. I'm assuming they want us to pick the green surface as our support. So I'm going to pick the support. Okay, so yep, so it looks like the tutorial now. Okay, so it's telling us, hey, you have this option or that one. There's only two options that'll work based on your parameters using the surface as your support. So even though it's not planar, even though these curves are not on an imaginary plane, we do have a support, unlike the other one that we did earlier. This crazy one that we did earlier, we did not have a support. So we had to use the 3D corner option for this one, right? So earlier we used the 3D corner option on this one. We didn't have a support, but for this one we do have a support. Okay, so even though it's not planar, we can use corner on support because we have the surface where these curves lie on. Okay, so earlier I misspoke. We are able to use it on non-planar curves as long as we have a support. Okay, so let's hit preview. If we want to keep this portion, hit OK. And there it is, and it trimmed off the excess, as you can see. And it stays on the surface. Okay, so let's go back and make changes. Let's double click. We can also pick this side, right? Let's go to next and OK, and that works. Okay, let's go back. So let's say we wanted something in here, right? So either the radius is too large or too small, or it goes off of the surface, our support. Let's see if I decrease the radius, if it'll give me, oh, there's another one. Okay, so this one popped up. By decreasing the radius, we have a third option, right? We have this one. Okay, let's keep decreasing it. So it doesn't give us this portion because it jumps off the surface. Okay, so we should be able to see an arc here, but there's no support, right? There's only support in these three areas, but not in this area. So it refuses to give us this portion of it because there's no support for it to lie on, and we do have corner on support option selected. So there's no surface here to work on. There's no support. So some of you are thinking, hey, why don't we keep reducing it until we see something? All right, let's keep reducing it. All right, I heard you. All right, so let's keep going down. See maybe if we get one. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Seems like we're going forever. Let's keep going, and oh, and it did not give it to us. I was hoping it would. Keep going, keep going. Oh, there it is. So we had to go down all the way to 3 millimeters for the support to work. Don't know why I didn't give it to us previously, and I'm not even going to try and figure it out. I'll probably go crazy. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so let's pick this new one. There it is. And hit OK. And there's our corner. And it joins these two lines to it. So when we did the corner command, it actually joined all three elements. I forgot to mention that in the earlier ones. Once you do a corner, it joins all of them as one entity. As you can see, when you select corner 5, it's one entity. It's made up of 3 segments. Okay, so we can always pick the untrim option. So trim, what it does, trim removes excess and joins what's left over. Okay, so when we had trim on, it removed the excess and then it joined all 3 remaining elements. Okay, so if we turn it off, hit OK, it doesn't join them. Okay, so it didn't trim off the excess and it did not join. Okay, so if we go back, double click. Again, trim is actually 2 things in one. It removes any excess and it will join what's left over. There it is with the trim option on. Let's go back. Remove trim. It's not going to remove the excess and it's not going to join what's left over. Hit OK. So it did hide them, but we can always bring them back, right? We can always go back and show that it did not remove anything and it did not join anything. Okay, so there it is. All right, so I think we got it all on this one. Yep, we got to the end of this tutorial. All right, so go ahead and save your work. If you want to type in completed at the end or your initials, leave it up to you. And I'll save it in my wireframe folder once again. Again, this was corners, and save. All right, so I'll see you in the next video, and I will upload this into our YouTube channel.